March 29th, 2024, a Friday morning. Most of the world was asleep. A Microsoft engineer named Andres Freund was running a routine performance test on his Linux system. SSH logins were taking 500 milliseconds longer than they should. Not a crash, not an alarm, just a tiny, almost invisible slowdown. Most engineers would have moved on, blamed the server, blamed the network. Andres didn't move on. And that decision, that single moment of curiosity, may have saved the internet. To understand what happened, you need to understand something most people have never heard of. XZ Utils is a tiny compression library. Think of it like a zip tool, but built deep inside the foundation of Linux. It's the kind of software nobody talks about, nobody writes articles about, nobody celebrates. But nearly every Linux server on Earth has it installed. Banks, hospitals, government infrastructure, cloud platforms running your apps right now. All of them depending on a tool maintained for years by a single, exhausted volunteer. This is the story of how that vulnerability became a target and how close we came to losing. In early 2021, a new GitHub account appeared. Username GiaT75. Real name listed as Gia Tan. No prior history, no digital footprint, no conference talks, no blog posts, no trail. Just code. Clean, careful, competent code. Gia Tan began contributing to open-source projects quietly, steadily, unremarkably. Small fixes, useful patches, the kind of work that builds trust over months. Nobody questioned it. Why would they? This is how open source works, strangers contributing good work. But Gia Tan wasn't a stranger building a reputation. Gia Tan was an operative building access. The maintainer of XZ Utils was a developer named Lasse Colon, one person maintaining critical infrastructure used by millions. By 2022, Lasse was visibly burning out. The emails piled up, the pressure grew. The project was understaffed, like almost every open-source project on Earth. Then Gia Tan arrived, helpful, consistent, technically excellent. Over 2 years, Gia Tan contributed dozens of patches, built relationships in the community, earned commit access. There were even coordinated complaints from secondary accounts, pressuring Lasse to give Gia Tan more control. It worked. By late 2023, Gia Tan had become a co-maintainer of XZ Utils. 2 years of patience, 2 years of manufactured credibility. The door was now open. With maintainer access secured, Gia Tan began making changes, subtle ones. In early 2024, a backdoor was quietly embedded inside XZ Utils version 5.6.0 and 5.6.1. It wasn't hidden in obvious code. It was concealed inside binary test files, data that automated security scanners typically ignore. The payload was sophisticated. It targeted a specific condition, systems where XZ Utils was linked to a library called systemd notify. On those systems, the backdoor would intercept SSH authentication, the world's most trusted way to remotely access servers. An attacker with the right private key could bypass authentication entirely. No password, no detection, full access. Millions of servers, one key, invisible. Andres Freund wasn't looking for a backdoor. He was chasing a performance bug. SSH logins on his Debian test machine were slower than expected. Valgrind, a memory profiling tool, was throwing unusual errors. He started digging. The trail led to XZ Utils. He pulled the source code. He compared versions. He found that the binary test files didn't match the expected build output. Something had been injected, something precise,
deliberate, and deeply hidden. Andres wasn't a security researcher. He wasn't paid to find this. He was just someone who didn't accept a 500-millisecond anomaly as normal. On March 29, 2024, he posted his findings to the open-source security mailing list. The security community went silent, then erupted.
Within hours, researchers worldwide began tearing apart the XZ Utils backdoor. What they found was not the work of a casual hacker. This was surgical. The backdoor only activated under very specific build conditions, Debian and RPM-based Linux distributions during automated builds. It was designed to pass undetected through code review. The malicious logic was obfuscated across multiple layers: binary data, build scripts, and macro expansion. Security researcher Evan Boas published a detailed timeline. Thomas Rocha created a visual map of the attack. The community mobilized in real time. Major Linux distributions, Debian, Fedora, Arch, immediately issued emergency rollbacks. The infected versions were never widely deployed in stable releases. They had caught it by days, maybe hours. The immediate crisis was contained, but the aftershock hit harder than the event itself. This wasn't a zero-day exploit. It wasn't a phishing attack. It was a multi-year social engineering operation targeting the trust layer of open source itself. The question wasn't just, how do we patch this? The question became, how many other GITANs are already inside? Major tech companies began auditing their dependencies. The U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency, CISA, issued guidance. GitHub suspended the XZ Utils repository temporarily. Las Colin, the original maintainer, returned full control. The open-source community entered an uncomfortable conversation about sustainability, about burnout, about the invisible people maintaining critical infrastructure for free. One developer, overworked, underfunded, and almost exploited to bring down global infrastructure. GITAN vanished the moment the backdoor was exposed. The GitHub account went silent. No statement, no explanation. Investigators began analyzing the metadata. Commit timestamps clustered around Eastern European and East Asian working hours. The code quality, the patience, the operational security. Researchers widely assessed this as the work of a nation-state actor. Multiple security analysts pointed toward a state-sponsored intelligence operation, possibly Russian, though no definitive attribution has been publicly confirmed as of March 2026. The persona of GITAN, the name, the identity, possibly the entire 2-year presence, may have been a constructed fiction from day one. No face, no voice, no real name, just code, patience, and a nearly perfect plan. The ghost disappeared, but the questions it left behind are still being answered. The XZ Utils backdoor didn't succeed, but it didn't need to succeed to matter. It exposed something that security professionals have warned about for decades. The Internet's most critical infrastructure is often maintained by exhausted individuals working alone with no funding and no backup. The attack wasn't against a system, it was against a person, against burnout, against the assumption that because something is open, it is safe. Andres Freund found it because he cared about a 500-millisecond anomaly. That's the level of attention this world requires and almost never gets. Since 2024, conversations around open source funding, maintainer support, and supply chain security have intensified. Progress is happening, but slowly. The next GITAN may already be 3 years into building trust somewhere right now. Patient, invisible, waiting. The Internet runs on trust. That's its greatest strength. And as 2024 showed us, it is also its most dangerous vulnerability. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and never ignore a 500-millisecond anomaly.